But if you're thinking about heroes that, you know, Chen and Enchantress are both Lil heroes. There's some Lil heroes that, you know, Slardar's still in the pool, which is a massive hero for him that he plays as support and is a gap closer as well if he gets a little bit of farm.
Yeah, Slardar is a really good hero with lifesteal, especially the M damage plus, you know, lifesteal's physical damage output.
Ooh, they go for IO.
Rubik.
It might be IO plus Sanking, and I've seen them do Ogre safe lanes. They are one of the few teams, them and EG, they do Ogre safe lanes a lot. Whereas for MP right now, Omni Knight is one of the heroes that they pick on their off lane quite a bit on MSS.
Yep.
So I expect them to do the same here. Very good hero to keep your draw alive. Basically, when you're running a draw strat, you always want to have a defensive support or a defensive core. When the enemy runs at you, you need to be able to keep the draw alive in the team fights.
So that's like the babysitter that you were talking about earlier.
What I meant with the babysitter was the lane babysitter, like someone to make sure you farm in the lane. This is kind
Rubik,
of this is kind of Omni Knight's kind of like the hero that keeps people, the defensive hero in the lineup with the draw ranger.
Where does this one go next?
Both of the teams are looking to have a very different game plan right now.
Yeah.
For VP, they want to win the lane, and they have relocate with IO, so they want to have a much better map presence. They want to split up and roam around. Whereas MP, they're going to be very afraid of the relocate and the sanking gangs, so they're going to build their lineup around the draw to 5-man with the Omni Knight to take down towers. So you minimize the chances of the enemy catching you off because you're always 5-manning, and they're trying to gank you. So when you're 5-man, it's very difficult for them to gank you.
Especially with an Omni Knight as well, right?
Yeah,
like
Omni
makes
Knight.
the gank
Oh
much
my
harder.
god. Omni Knight, OD, and draw. This is the classic 5-man draw lineup.
Wow.
It's just getting bigger and bigger then. You guys, is this starting to give you any more faith in NP? Starting to see that they're forcing... No, I was going to say forcing VP's hand.
Let's go to Tat, you know, the guy who had the faith before.
I had the faith. I mean, the thing is, if you first pick Drow, your strat is clear. I mean, they're not trying to hide it. They're literally just saying, we're going to pick Drow and we're going to build around that. And it is, I mean, if you counter it, it is counterable, but you almost have to counter, like that has to be your entire strat has to be countering that. Otherwise, you are going to lose to it. So I think, you know, they've kind of forced Virtus.Pro down a certain road. Obviously, MP think they can outplay them with the Drow strat. So.
It's like VP, they're just like, I don't think they're forced down the road, but they just put a lot of emphasis on winning their lanes. And with the Ogre plus the IR, two supports that are designed to help your lanes out a lot in the early game. I mean, as long as before the 5-man comes, you win your lane substantially enough, so you delay the 5-man and you're able to have an item advantage over the enemy, then you'll be able to defend the push. But if the lanes don't go well for you, then you'll be in trouble.
Yeah, big trouble.
So it is going to be Virtus.Pro that has the last pick. And with the sniper already banned out, and they themselves banned out Razor.
Yes, sniper is a really good ban because it's a very good matchup against OD. You see teams using sniper against OD, and you have D push to slow down the push with your shrapnel. So I think it's a great ban, and Undying as well, a great last pick to put their whole draft together.
Like a little bow on top.
Yeah, Undying plus Omni Knight. And you have the option to not only do Undying Omni Knight dual lane, but you have the option to do Undying Rubik plus draw to make sure if you feel, oh, our draw is going to get pressured a lot, we need to secure the draw lane. That's what Undying provides to you.
The security. Do not want to lane against
the lane security that you have.
However, Lifestealer is a bit of a tombstone killer already.
Let him try.
Let him try, okay. Well, Shadow Fiend, it's no one's Shadow Fiend. That's nice.
Okay.
So basically, the last pick is telling us that VP just wants to have good lanes plus good team fight. They have Sanking ultimate, Shadow Fiend ultimate. Against a push lineup, you want to have AoE to defend the push.
And so we're already, with it all kind of said and done, I think it's safe to say, like, what I like about what we're doing here is we do our predictions, then we see the draft.
Yeah.
And so you basically...
I'm not changing. I'm sticking with MP.
You're not allowed. Oh, it's locked in. It's actually been carved into concrete, so there's no way you can get out of
I'm
this,
glad. I would have carved it myself.
I'm shaken by MP's draft right now.
What? Okay, you have to explain. Why are you shaken?
I mean, they have a very good solid plan, and it's very good against what VP have.
It feels like they've done their homework then, Shiva. You feel like
I would think so. It looks like a good draft. I still think Virtus.Pro, like as a team, is just slightly the better one. So I wouldn't have changed my prediction if I had the chance. So.
Yeah, I agree.
So the bottom line is picking that drove first was like throwing down the gauntlet. Just saying like, this is what we're going to do and we're going to do it well. Let's see what you've got, almost. It was a very kind of up in your face, very blatant call to arms. And actually, talking of call, we're going to summon two other faces now to discuss this game and of course get them into it. It's our casters for our first game. It's Toby1 and Malini. Are you there, boys?
Yeah, Machine, as Malini. I know you've been watching the draft very, very closely. Winter seems to think that MP have got what it takes to shake up the VP. Was a very unsurprising draft for them.
I think they have a lot of solutions to deal with the Drow Ranger, but not necessarily the Omni Knight. That's definitely what I'm most scared of about MP's draft.
All right, so we'll keep our eyes on that Omni Knight as we're going to get into the game now. So this is game number 1 of our first best of 3 appearing here on the stage. It is going to be Virtus.Pro, the favorites, up against an NP who, well, at least draft-wise with the panel, they're believing as favorites too.
I had to get my predictions in. Sorry, Toby.
Of course you do. You were such a point.
Yeah, 35 seconds left.
I actually had to restart because I had an observer bug. But, man. It's good to see the Drow range getting a little bit more workout. With the lineup, though, is it that scary? Like, you're going up against Virtus.Pro, a team which recently just came off the win at the Summit. They won that very convincingly, too. And now you're like, you know their laning phase is really, really strong. Is it such like a heavy risk? Like you run a Drow Ranger lineup, you got to win by 40 or else you're in real trouble.
I think it's much different because they have the OD and VP doesn't have any great diffusal carriers. They had their mid pick last. They had their lifestealer pick first. Normally, like the 1 position buys the diffusal blade, but no Juggernaut. Let's say that's probably one of the most common ones that you'll see in the safe lane, and it's like so-so on the Shadow Fiend. So the later it goes, I think the stronger the Omni Knight becomes. I think a lot of it depends on the Sand King. What can the Sand King do? And also they have a hero that can protect the Omni Knight, which is really important because normally they just all in on the Omni Knight, but with the Astral Imprisonment on the OD, they do have fail safes as well as the Undying as a backup.
They still need to make this laning phase work. Like you're running Urga. Urga, like the most popular hero right now for support, getting up in Envy's phase, so you're forcing Savage to come into the lane to try and beat him out. I suppose the upside is the fact that no one has gone for like the Necromastery to start with, so there's no Shadow Razors to really hurt the Undying just yet, or to actually build up souls for the SF.
Yeah, he needs to get a couple souls, and he is currently only sitting at 1. Tough matchup for him.
Maybe another reason too why Solo's just moving slightly out of the lane. Gives no one that space to get the levels. But this top lane, like, talk about trying to go up against an SK with an IO sitting behind him too. This seems like it's a little bit too much work for 1437 to do.
Too much regen to chew through. He has a Mango, 2 sets of regen on the Sand King, and then he has a Wisp behind him with a bottle already. So that's pretty much not going to happen. But at least they have dealt with that spawn and not allowed the Sand King to pull and stack.
So what do you want out of this offlane? Looking at Omni Knight, like Ramtes is getting up in his face. MSS was able to hit the Purification, so like health-wise they're still pretty close, but CS-wise, Ramtes is pulling slightly ahead, even though the creep wave's still in his favor.
And Omni Knight hasn't gone for pulling blades.
That first blood. They get him underneath the tower.
There's just, I mean, the Sand King in this lane is, they talked about the safe lane being secured by the Rubik and the Undying, but because the Undying has been in the mid lane and Sand King has just so much regen, Drow really can't do that much at level 1. You can hit him with the Frost Arrows, but he has Stout Shield already and boots to boot.
They're trying to have a crack at mid. Savage he doesn't have any control when he rotates like this is the Undying.
Dude, he has the Arcane Root.
The problem is he doesn't have Eternal Envy. Eternal Envy's back behind the tier 1 tower, still trying to find some CS.
42 mana decay though, Toby. 42 with 7-second cooldown. That's nasty. Yeah, you just don't want to be up against that at all. Shadow Fiend's already sitting at less than 500 HP.
Well, with the SF, like it's not that bad, right? Because he's still on Radiant side, he can still stack for himself. But with 2.5 minutes in, there's been no Radiant stacking being done, including Ancients. So
he has 9 souls.
Do you look for that flash farm?
Nah, he has 9 souls already. I think that's good enough to start contesting as well versus the OD.
Oh, there's VP maneuver. They're getting really aggressive on the top lane, coming in behind the tier 1 tower. AUI as well as 1437 have to defend themselves back inside the tree line. That should bring more help. So the Undying will TP top. This is what Winter was talking about, that rotation of the Undying if you have to secure your Drow lane.
And now the OD's fallen behind in CS into the lane. 13 to 11.
Oh, Savage, Pasha, gonna get that Burrow Strike off. They'll keep him slowed up, but maybe, well, they're splitting up so he can't get an easy decay. But with the Gust back, they've got some space. Pasha's dropping down low. Savage, still with the Caustic economy, won't fall from this. The VP definitely trying to make it so this NP safe lane is not safe at all.
Yeah, this is not what you want from your Drow Ranger lane. This is like one of your worst nightmares as a Drow Ranger. You have 2 other people in your lane that you actually need to help. So you're not getting that much experience. You want your max true shot ASAP and maybe some life leap so you can farm a little bit more. And he's not able to CS well either. Although he is doing pretty decently. 14 is more than I would expect from his lane, so AUI pulling ahead.
Actually, every single lane for the cause, they've all got some decent CS. The SF, of course, is breaking free ahead.
Yeah, Ramsey is somewhat in danger of dying down there.
And then Lil rotates over all the purification. Hits Ramsey's hard, but he knows he's okay. Lil's still bottling him up. Ramsey doesn't have an open wounds available. He's got Rage up if he wants to have another crack, but MSS is already back into the safety range of the Tier 1 tower.
And Pasha narrowly escapes a gank on the top lane with a level 1 Sandstorm. Picked it up quite early. I like that pickup. Seen far too many go 2-0-3. He's versus a range hero, so I guess the call may be a little bit more wise for him to go for the Sandstorm rather than Max Caustic.
Well, there's nothing that really pulls him out of it, right? Like, there's no AoE stun that you're going to be triggering apart from, like, you've got the Gust to break him out of the channel.
Yeah, telekinesis drop on top of him, but it's all a little bit slow. It's more so that the supports have to actually invest some wards.
MSS, this is very optimistic. He's chasing down, looking for Lil. Optimistic actually pays off. Got close enough for the purification. Lil hung around just a little bit too long, and now that's the Soul Ring up for the Omni Knight.
Yeah, the value point in the... Or actually, 2 points in the degen. I like that. Ramsey's struggling a little bit too.
Oh, he's trying to get the open wounds off. Problem is he's got no more heal. Lil will arrive. So now the tether is up. MSS doesn't have anything else to fight with. All he's got is his infused raindrops, but that won't save him from this. Ramsey just beats him down with the claws. So gets a little bit of revenge for the death of his support.
Still getting us a kill on Ramses like that. He's a full level ahead of him by now. And no one looking to invade the jungle. There aren't any stacks for him
Savage.
to take, but
Savage is actually pinched at the moment. The SK can come in through the river, and Solo and no one move up through the bottom part of the river. They saw him thanks to the Observer Ward. They just need the proper stun, and then no one can just raise him down. So good maneuver. Nice Observer Ward just sitting on the hillside that saw it all happen.
yeah, Undying's been struggling a lot this game. He's just sitting on a windlace and no sign of boots yet for him. Sitting at a paltry 23 gold. So Envy takes the first rune away from the Wisp, and MSS looking to set up a heal bomb.
Where is he? They're waiting for Lil to actually tether over. MSS read it perfectly, but the open wounds will keep the distance. That's why he has to repel. Potentially able to block him inside the tree line. No, they can't. He's got his Calling Blade up. So cuts through the trees and gets away to safety. Meanwhile, up on top lane, it looks like Sand King. Pasha hoping for an opening over an AUI with a rotation up from Solo. But it's just not enough.
He's forced to build full defensive on the Drow Ranger too. He has to go for the treads early, and then he has to go for a magic stick too. You generally don't want to get a magic stick on the Drow Ranger.
They're actually doing the rotation. Envy threw the orb out. That's not enough to kill because he didn't actually hit Lil with that orb.
That was a cool tree eat by AUI. He ate one of the trees so he could pull the creeps and stack the ancients. That one that you see the dragons go through. I haven't seen that too much. Efficient.
It's classic AUI, right? Put him as well as Envy on a team, you expect some kind of shenanigans like that.
Yeah, and he went for the Blightstone too, so he can actually farm ancients. Normally you would wait for the Mortar Mass, so this is probably far earlier than VP's expecting him to go. They're probably wondering where he is right now, and look at Solo. Solo's wondering where he is. He placed an Observer Ward to check out, because you don't expect the Drow Ranger to go to the jungle this early, at least not the ancients.
Yeah, not this kind of rotation. But instead, they're still adding a lot of pressure towards it. So this will force like some kind of movement out of NP. Envy's going to TP in there. No one almost killed off Savage with two really nicely placed razors. Because while you're doing this, sure, AUI is getting farmed, but is this really worth it? The amount of time he's spending out of lane? I suppose you're getting the farm into Rubik, right?
Yeah, they need the levels. Top lane he's actually level 7 on the Rubik and can make some plays.
Well, they instantly went back. They purchased up a smoke, so yeah, it looks like plays is definitely on the cards for MP.
Yeah, they know that they're just looking to pressure in the mid lane because the Drow Ranger's constantly been missing. She hasn't shown on any of the Observer Wars on top, so that they can expect that she's on the right side of the map. Most likely farming the large camp, maybe not necessarily the Ancients. He's still working on those, but with his positioning, with the Quelling Blade and the tree eating, Drow Ranger's doing a fine job.
Yep. Pasha's going to return to the top lane after Rubik TP'd off it. It's pretty open for him. Also a very farm-orientated Pasha going for this early Iron Talon along with his Tranquil Boot, so not rushing up the Blink Dagger looking for a straight-up fight. But it's bottom lane where Ramses initiates an MSS. Just MSS doing his normal thing, getting aggressive up in their face. But at this time, there's actually a follow-up. Rose actually got hit by one of the IR balls.
And the haste immediately popped, and he bounces. And AUI is still sitting there waiting for one of those weak heroes.
Well, if you can get the Gust off, there's no rage, but the Gust was just out of range of Ramses.
I don't even know if he could have killed him, because Lil's not at full HP, so easy heal from the Tether, and he has 1 point overcharge already.
He's killed the goal, though, because now they're going to be able to take out that tier 1 tower. As a drone ranger early on, these tier 1 towers have to fall. They still haven't, like 9.5 minutes in, haven't taken a single one until now.
And now they're at, like, Pasha's skipping creeps on top, and Rose has stolen level 1 Sandstorm, another benefit of playing
Problem is
versus...
he just left Envy by himself in the mid lane. Envy starting his TP out. No one was winding up the ult. He's just got enough damage. MSS's TP couldn't arrive in time, and now he's kind of staring down the barrel of a very blood-raged up SF.
Yeah, they saw the Wisp come in, and they pinged out his Ancient Ward drop, but they didn't expect him to come around from behind.
This was not the plan for MP, where they had to go for a straight-off tower trade.
Definitely not.
With the Rubik TPing up towards top lane, you know you got a lot of space to make plays, and they did it. MV Corp.
They're doing a good job of making sure that NP's forced to put people in all the lanes and making sure that they can't just greedily farm up the jungle. If they don't have all 5 showing in the lanes, they'll just run as 5. And this is before the relocate too. Now that relocate's up in just 60 XP, he could easily pick up a tome if he wanted.
Looks like Lil's also preparing for a gank on top. Pasha's going to burst strike over. If you can bring the balls in close, the damage will be decent onto a Rubik, but decent is not enough, and they can't bring him out of the stolen Sandstorm. Now Rose actually starting his TP. Pasha won. It was actually only half the second till that burrow strike was back off cooldown. Beautifully played up there by Theban.
He had the sentry ward on Pasha.
Relocate. We're going for a trip to absolutely nowhere. I don't think that was part of the plan.
Definitely not. I'm not sure whether they were like going home.
Yeah,
maybe try to double click it or something.
Home would make more sense, just a straight up regeneration, because there was no fight for them to have anywhere. None of their observer wars were triggering anything, so it was just a misclick. He meant to like double tap home probably.
Maybe some issues with quick casts. That happens occasionally with quick cast.
This means Pasha's going to stay out of the fight for a little longer. Let his Tranquil Boots do the work, and they just wait for the 12-minute rune.
NP are desperately trying to put that right side of the map, especially with that tower, 1 tower down. And they have to at this point. They're kind of struggling to find places to farm safely.
Is this so they can also get Roshan, so they have an Aegis for their tier 2 pushes?
Ideally, and it's also will kind of pressure VP to make multiple decisions. Like they need to take down the T1 on the top, they need to protect Roach, they need to contest the Ancients, and they need to get farm up themselves.
Virtus.Pro coming in to fight.
Yeah, they have the Sand King Blink Dagger. Let's watch his positioning.
Oh, there's going to be our first big 5-on-5 fight. If VP can find a good positioning, NP are being very defensive about this, only leaving AUI in the front lines. They put down the Observer Walls, Sentries are planned so they can see it. The Epicenter channeling up from Pasha. Blinks in with a Burrow Strike, looking for the kill on MSS, but it's not going to be enough. Now they turn on the GA and Solo gets evaporated. Maybe no one can turn this fight around. Bring out the big Requiem, but it's just too much. NP, they don't have the damage, they don't actually have positioning either, so Droga is stunned up high while you're losing the Rubik in the mid to no one getting a triple kill. NP lose 4. It looked like they were going to originally survive, and then nope.
That was probably not the target that he was trying to Astral. He Astral the Sand King after he had already epied. I think maybe he was trying to click on the Lifestealer, but he had already popped Rage. So the other target that you would want to Astral is the Omni Knight, just so he doesn't get wrecked by the Repel, but yeah, with Omni Knight dying that early in the fight, at least he got his GA off, but he was just way too low to continue, and then everyone's gonna fall like pawns.
Feels a little odd. Like, you could see how long that mid-fight was brewing. Like, VP had all the time in the world to prepare for it.
Yeah, they didn't have vision on the right side, though. Like, notice that Observer Ward's on the left side.
We'll have a quick look back at it again so we can see that maneuver.
I think he's just outside the Observer Ward range. They placed one right on AUI, but he Astrals the Sand King, and all the spells come out from the Omni Knight, but then he gets Requiem, then easily Shadow Rays down. And now they're trying to go for a Roche, but SVG gets bashed up, SF Illusions, scouting them out, and they're trying to do the Tombstone tank.
It's not the dream. It's almost like MP were also playing the bluff card by putting Envy down on that bottom lane, so he came out past the tier 1 tower, ended up dying to a Virtus.Pro gank. So now you're an OD down, you're losing your tier 1 tower, and you just don't have the strength to fight. GA is still not back up again. The Tombstone's wasted on the pit, so you cannot fight.
On top of that, they don't feel safe to farm anywhere. They have to worry about an Invis SF. He has Shadow Blade now, so you can get Requiem with level 2 and easily burst it down with one raise or a right click. And then you have to worry about the Sand King stun into a relocate. And pretty much none of these can be prevented except for an Omni Knight sitting right behind you. But if they have vision on the Omni Knight, both of you guys are dead. So that means they have to commit more heroes than they want to each of these objectives that they want to go for. And VP just read that like a book, the Sneak Roche, and that was that's kind of what you expect when you play against Envy. So it's a little unfortunate for MP that they've been so readable at that point in the game.
When you're behind, you try and go for a big play like Roshan. Didn't work. VP read it, and now they're so far ahead. We saw that quick matchup as well between No One as well as Eternal Envy, and it really does show distance of these heroes. 8.5k on the net worth of the SF compared to the 5.2 of the OD. Envy just is a bit of a non-factor at the moment.
Uh-oh, they smoked, and Draw Ranger attacked the Ancients, so she will not be involved in that fight.
I don't think she wants to be at this point. If she's still farming up the Ancients, unless she's going to walk in. That Observe Ward on the hillside from Virtus.Pro, it would have scattered a small movement, not to mention the one which is sitting just in front of that bottom rune. But they're quick enough. They've done it. They actually pick up the Aegis Immortal, they get into the hands of AUI, and they'll get out before Virtus.Pro can react. Or can they? Pasha's in close. He's lined up. He gets a double Barrow Strike. The Ghast is actually going to miss. Same with the Decay, and now No One looks to open up. AUI separated from the rest of his team, sitting inside the pit. No One just going to TP out. They don't want the fight. Positioning isn't perfect for them. Just let it go.
He didn't send the Omni Knight in the first batch, or else worse things might have happened for MP, but that's a very good position for them to take away. They were kind of all up on their side of the hill, they were a little bit spread out, and they have the Aegis of the Immortal, and they had a Sentry War on the south side, but luckily for Pasha, he escaped to the northwest, and now you can kind of see NPs playing all of them, just grouping up. They know they'll get picked off, so now VP just have to split push and make use of their mobility tools to try and make the best of NP's positioning.
What do you think about the item progression of No One? Going directly in for Silver Edge before going for something more common like a BKB up against an OD?
I don't like the Silver Edge here, because with the repel target, you can kind of just ignore them. You break them, and then you just kill everyone else. Like, okay, we can't kill you, but you also really can't do anything for us. I think it also makes them a lot more tanky. The BKB, it's a common joke that it's like a game-losing item if you get it this early, which I think they have to entertain the possibility of it going quite late, and I think going for a BKB now would just be far too risky for him. The Silver Edge, he can do a lot more. He has a lot more uptime on his Shadow Blade, but at the same time, looks like he may be in a little bit of a pickle here.
Yeah, NP smoke maneuvering to the bottom lane. They're looking for something.
Except for one pair of sentries on the Rubik, which is not really going to cut it versus an SF.
You can't need the dust, and Ramses knows he's safe. All he's got to do is just rage and get out. So there it is, the Silver Edge used by No One. He's away from Eternal Envy. Ramses reforced the fortification out in that tier 2 tower. TP support's coming up, and well, rage and TP. He'll start it up, and there is nothing that can interrupt him. Easy split, divide maneuver, and NP have to waste one of those valuable smokes.
And this also buys time for VP to get a defusal if they want. Shadow Fiend looks like his next item will be a BKB, as I see the Ogre Club in his inventory. Sand King might actually be able to purchase one, I would say, with the rate that he's farming.
Would you look to him to actually get that? Like right now, he's got Blink Dagger as well as Yule Scepter.
I see it on Life. I see Lifestealer building one.
AUI. He knows he doesn't have that. His Gust is now nothing. You just Yule's off the silence effect, and then it's just a simple Blink or Sandstorm away.
Yeah, he is very difficult to kill right now. The only actual lockdown that they have is Rubik, and potentially a Burrow Strike from Rubik if he gets it. And Pasha feels very safe to farm.
They're hoping for top.
Coming around with Invis, but how do they kill him?
Well, you don't. It's very simple. Like, you entertain the idea for a moment because he uses his Burrow Strike to farm. You're like, okay, maybe this is the way to do it, but no. He's still got too much escape. But now it looks like MP will at least be able to claim this tier 1 tower, and VP in no position to fight back.
They will be in just a minute. I think that their reign of terror is about to end pretty soon, NP's is, with their H6 expiring and the Diffusal coming out on the Lifestealer. He's also hidden his Diffusal Blade. He hasn't made any signs of showing, like, even a robe, I would think, would probably give it away on him. Also, a Blade of Alacrity would almost certainly make NP, like, much more scared. But with this, he can pick it up, he can hide inside the thinking, and they won't know. And actually, the chicken's coming out right now, so they definitely know that something's
and
up.
right onto the tier 2 tower. I haven't seen anybody ping it just yet, but with the courier making a double maneuver, is this almost going to be like a trade-off time? VP are fairly strong. They're beating it at the tier 2 tower on both teams. Like, fortification going to go down for them.
He's not really that scared, because if they split up, they can easily just reinforce the numbers.
Well, you look at Ramses, he's solo pushing the mid lane. The first TP's coming back now from Eternal Envy, but Ramses rages up. He does his own little trick again, so stays inside the rage, does his TP, and then is away. And he took off almost half of the HP of that tier 3 tower.
Mm-hmm. Aegis out in 30 seconds. I think it's about time that VP can make a move, and no one was just farming their ancients, and now they're slowly losing out in the economic war as VP pull ahead with a 10k net worth lead, and VP almost certainly not going to be willing to give them the next Aegis if Shadow Fiend's BKB is up, and BKB up, Diffusal up, Aegis expired. I think this is it.
So if you're Virtus.Pro, obviously you don't feel like you're on the clock with your lineup, everyone's looking really, really good. Do you not give MP to fight inside the base? Like, do you actually want to delay this game out by like another 20 minutes until you become almost immortal against the MP lineup? Or is this giving MP too much space to come back?
I think it just depends on what MP wants to do. If they want to farm together as 5, they need to do it in a well-fortified position. And they always need to hide the Omni Knight. That's the most important part. If Omni Knight dies early in the fight, and he doesn't have any mobility items, no Blink, no Force Step, no Glimmer, like nothing like that to really save himself, I guess just Mech, which isn't that effective versus like a Sand King Burrow Strike Epi. But if he gets caught, then I think like they will just get crushed in the fight really bad because they have nothing against the rage of the Lifesteal except for GA. So if MP goes outside of base, take the fight to them, and looks like they're setting up very, very soon. 4 people have smoked. We see Ramses in position to run in with a Diffusal Blade. The only thing that they're lacking right now is vision, so they have to be a little bit careful about how they tread on the north side of the map, and you can kind of see that with Ramses still hiding in that tree area.
They're waiting for him to come back over, so MP just scanned. They scanned the top river entrance. They were expecting Virtus.Pro to move up through the river. The scan, it just wore up before Lil reached it. So they do not know, but the smoke, it's going to break in just a second, but they're out of range of the Observer and Sentry. So they tether forward. AUI massively separated from the rest of the pack. He's already broken down. He'll Hurricane Pike himself down, but into the waiting arms of Ramses. The Burrow Strike is there, and they've killed off the Drow Ranger. No one lines up the ult. He doesn't actually hit on anybody apart from his own teammates, but there's still 2 heroes down for MP. They're trying to bail out of here with at least casualties as possible, but it's still going to be 3 heroes lost for MP. 12-2 on the board, and Virtus.Pro, they've got perfect control of this game.
Yeah, they just cannot kill that Lifestealer at all. He just walked in blind. There is no vision that they had right there. They had a vision of 1 hero from the creep wave, and he just kind of walked in. It's like, if they're all 4, I can just armlet. If I get gusted, I'll use it all. And heroes just keep perishing around the map for MP. This is going to be
That pick
brutal.
is actually too easy. With the damage onto the mid tower already, there's no Eternal Envy for 42 seconds. He's got no buyback available, so it's either Roshan or it's mid tower.
I'm trying to think about how MP thinks that they can get back in the game and what their game plan is. I see OD going for a Perseverance, so that's one of the first steps to dealing with the Diffusal Blade. Now that it's not instantaneous, at least you have a few seconds left where you feel like you can actually do something with Repel. That's a very common combo, the Lincolns plus Repel, and then Drow Ranger going for the Shadow Blade, potentially just to go for some picks and open up the map for them a little bit more. But in the straight 5-on-5s, it's not really going to feel very useful.
Speaking of pick, there's the Blink Burrow Strike. They're going to Hurricane Pike him up. The heals were enough from Savage as well as MSS. Now they try and turn the fight. Lil is pretty low. But you have to remember, no one is pretty big, and he has that fresh BKB on him. So if Eternal Envy wants to fight this one, no one will be happy to turn effect to Ramses. He's the one in the front line. Diffusal Blade charge over on the OD. They push him up. Past Burrow Strike still connected. Another defensive imprisonment. They're kiting around Virtus.Pro nicely. Requiem, very ineffective against MP. Well, they're looking for another target. The Blink, the Yule Scepter is up. Rose, oh, he went to Sandstorm. They missed the target. The Gem of True Sight of MP now lost. It was sitting on the Rubik. There was no one that got the kill, but now they get a multicast over on Eternal Envy. This could be him down. No buyback, a double kill for the SF, and a double fire strike from Pasha. Right on the money. Triple kill for no one. He'll look to make it something a little bit more. Will it be the Rampage? It's an ultra kill at the moment. Savage is the last one alive. Push him in, and there it is. A Virtus.Pro Rampage will force the GG call out of MP, and that is one very dominant game from Virtus.Pro with a double Rampage just to add some icing onto the cake at the end.
What a way to kick off the Boston Major for VP. Looking strong. Favorites for a reason.
And it seemed perfect comfort zone as well. I was wondering if MP had actually crafted some things up. They went for the Omni Knight kind of play, but Virtus.Pro got every pick that I think everyone was expecting them to get.
I think a lot of it's due to the Drow Ranger too. As Winter had mentioned, a lot of teams have been kind of foregoing the Drow Ranger first pick just because there are a lot of ways to deal with him now that it's just been explored so much, and they had so many heroes that could just get up in her face. She couldn't do any damage. Even if you didn't kill her, her marksmanship is almost always going to be down in the team fights.
I also like the point you made during the game. It's like there was nothing to deal with Lifestealer's rage. Like we saw him sitting on that tier 2 tower, just raged up, took the tower.